Well, what we could do is, if Rob Hughes is around, I don't know if he's around, but if some of you have got questions, you know, this is the time to ask him anything to do with that. Or anything else you want to cover, but you know, get your hands up. I can shoot round and ask a question or two.
Sorry, mate, I am around. I was just at the back. Sorry, just
got your tracksuit on. Good lad.
Right, where are
Change your form.
We got questions.
I wouldn't laugh much if he fell in, would you?
You mentioned temperatures earlier. What sort of temperature range are you talking about for the fish to come on and look?
Well, it's not really any temperature range, it's a rise. At this time of the year, it's a rise in temperature. It may be in the summer, it may actually be a fall in temperature. So that when the water's really, really warm and it's 22, 23, 24 degrees, and you get a bit of rain and it cools it down, that can turn them on. So it's not, you know, it depends on the time of year. But at the moment, if the temperature is rising, the fish's activity will be rising. You know, and in the winter time, if the temperature rises in the middle of the winter, just by half a degree or 1 degree, it can turn them on. So that's what we're talking about. Is, you know, we haven't done enough testing really to say there is a key temperature that you need to be on. But it's just springtime and winter. If it's going up, brilliant. Summertime, if the water's really hot and it drops down a bit, that can change it again.
Yeah, it was 12 degrees. The day of the big play it went up to 12 degrees. We were averaging about 10, which is actually the sort of temperatures you'll get in March time, about 10 degrees, and they spawn at 17.5 degrees constant, I think, for a few days. So you think, and normally they're spawning a week after when we would have been there really, and that's how low the temperatures were. So little peaks in the temperature were making a massive difference. 5 minutes, go on, any more questions?
No, any more questions about underwater or anything related to that?
Aftershaves?
Come on, there must
Haircuts?
Somebody must have a question. We do relationship advice as well.
Yeah, clothing advice. No?
Don't enter into one, that's my advice. Don't enter into one, that's my relationship.
Roberto, you got any questions? Have you watched it yet? I bet you haven't, have you?
No, I haven't yet. I haven't. So
see, I watch everything that you do. I'm quite offended.
I read your articles are my favourite articles.
Hang on. You're all talking about
stuff that you do. I look at every single one.
My favourite article in all the magazines is yours.
Well, thank you very much.
So you, apart from my own,
I feel humbled. There's two reasons why I don't watch it. One, I don't get a lot of time, unfortunately, to watch telly. And two, I've always sort of wanted to do my own thing without seeing yours, because if you're doing something that I want to look at, I don't want to be influenced by what you've done. But we more or less
try not to get offended here.
But no, don't be offended in the slightest. Just looking at what you guys are doing and the footage that you got, it's absolutely incredible. I'm very interested in one of the things that I'm looking at the moment is carp characters, because I get to swim with them and see what they're like, and you'll have seen this because you're studying them up close and personal. And the way that I describe carp is like cattle in a field, in that you walk into a field and there's a load of bullocks there, and some of them will take absolutely no notice of you and will be at the other side of the field and they'll carry on chewing. There'll be a herd of them that'll be sort of semi-interested but a bit spooky, and there'll be some that will charge up and have a sniff or a lick. And then they're
like clubbing, really, isn't it? Some girls that take absolutely no notice of you whatsoever. And there's
the ones that have a sniff and a lick.
None toes over for me, to be fair. But,
no, sorry, Phil.
But really,
we noticed that different characters. Definitely, there were ones that were, and there was ones that come in when there's sweet corn there. There was ones that come in when there was boilie there, and then when you put it all in, they're all there.
It's crazy, isn't it? How you can't just categorise carp as carp.
No.
So, and talking to the lads earlier that were talking about targeting big fish, they were saying one of the most important things is, of course, to learn about the character of that fish, where it comes from a certain time of year, what it does, etc., etc.
Like us, they are creatures of habit.
Absolutely.
And they have, I think that they all have their own unique way of not getting caught. So some get caught on certain rigs because the way they feed means that a normal rig, they'll get around it, but that something else gets put out that they just, the way they feed can't deal with that, and they get caught on it, So it is, if you're targeting a particular big fish or a number of big fish, what they've been caught on in the past generally is what they're going to get caught on in the future.
That's right. And areas, prime example. I was actually fishing across the road from you on the days that you were doing this, and it was grim, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was horrible, mate. It was horrible. It was like the end of the world. Well, we had two gazebos set up that Carl was cooking out of. Kurt, sorry, was cooking out of. And I went home for 24 hours just to get away from the lake. Came back and they were in the field behind in just like a crumpled mess. That was it was horrendous northerly winds.
It's a good night to be away.
Yeah, it's a good night to be away. Yeah.
We were out having a look at underwater stuff on Brasenose too at the time. The clarity was fantastic, but the fish movement was virtually nil.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, you know, fair dues to you lads, the amount of effort that you put into making these things, the amount of time, and I don't think people give enough credit for the amount of work that goes into it. I know what it's like.
But you're not going to, if you're not there and you don't see what goes on in the background and you don't see all the problems, how could you possibly comprehend it? You know, all people want to see is the end result, isn't it? And fair play, that's what they do.
That time, when I was there, that was a nothing's going to get caught time.
But in shallow water, it can turn around quick.
One thing for everybody watching, we're not just saying this about, I'm not just saying this about Rob's articles, anything that involves underwater photography or filming or whatever, I watch it all. You know, and I may not necessarily agree with what's being written about it or spoken on film, but just to see the fish in their natural environment, or see how a rig sits, or what the weed looks like, or what the line, all that stuff coming off that guy's line on Manor, you know, I've seen that on Gigantica, like just, it's not that the line's coated in something, there's actually like just huge bits
just
of sediment
rubbish
hanging off of it. The more you think about the underwater environment, the more fish you will catch, no doubt about it.
Bog standard military tactic, know your enemy. Know your surroundings, know what you're doing, then you've got much more chance of succeeding. Guys, we've got to close there. If you don't mind, I'd like to get involved and do some discussions with you tomorrow, because from what I've seen on that was absolutely fantastic. I had to whiz off there, but I'd love to just talk to you a bit more about that.
No worries.
Well, folks, what can we say? The footage is fantastic, the delivery is fantastic, the boys are doing a brilliant job. Danny and Ali, thank you ever so much.
Thank you, cheers.